Captain Lee Minho stood on the bridge of what appeared to be a simple transport shuttle called the Aurora. The ship looked ordinary from the outside with basic hull plating and standard navigation lights that blinked slowly in the darkness of space. But Minho knew the truth about what they were really flying, and it made him smile as he watched the stars streak past their view screen. 2 days had passed since Admiral Park Jin-ho had given him this mission and selected his crew. Each person on board had been chosen for specific skills that would be needed in the coming battle. Engineer Kim Dae-ho sat at his station, running diagnostics on systems that did not officially exist, while Medical Officer Choi Nara prepared her equipment for treating wounded aliens from species she had only read about in textbooks. Communications expert Yang Bora monitored galactic channels and listened to dozens of conversations in languages both familiar and strange. Her screens showed data streams from across the sector, including military frequencies that most ships could not access. Weapons specialist Han Taeyang checked and rechecked combat systems that were completely hidden from external scans, making the Aurora appear defenseless to anyone watching. The ship artificial intelligence spoke through speakers in Dr. Yoon Hana voice from Earth Defense Headquarters. "Captain, we are approaching the target system," she announced. "All disguise protocols are functioning perfectly. Enemy sensors will detect us as a basic transport vessel with minimal defensive capabilities." Minho nodded and activated the main display screen. The image that appeared made everyone on the bridge go quiet for a moment. Research Station Omega-7 hung in space, like a metal city surrounded by hundreds of dark warships. The Vrak fleet formed a perfect sphere around the station, with larger vessels positioned to block any escape routes. Dae-ho whistled softly as he counted the enemy ships. "I see battle cruisers, destroyers, and at least 50 smaller attack craft," he reported. "This is the biggest Vrak fleet anyone has seen in decades. They really want whatever technology is on that station." Bora intercepted enemy communications, and her face went pale as she translated the alien words. "Captain, the Vrak are not just holding the station. They have been torturing scientists to make them reveal information about quantum drive research. Many researchers are already dead." Nara looked up from her medical preparations. "How many survivors are we talking about?" she asked. According to station emergency broadcasts, there were originally 237 people on board, Bora replied. "Now there might be less than half that number still alive." The Vrak commander is getting impatient and threatening to execute 10 scientists every hour until someone talks. The Aurora continued its approach toward the massive fleet, looking like a tiny insect flying toward a spider web. Minho opened communications channels and sent identification signals that would make them appear to be exactly what the aliens expected, a desperate human rescue attempt with no chance of success. "Attention." Vrak Vessels Minho said into his microphone. "This is Captain Lee Minho of the Earth Defense Force. We are here under Galactic Council authority to negotiate for the release of Research Station Omega-7 personnel." The response came quickly in the form of harsh laughter that filled the bridge. A huge alien face appeared on their main screen with red eyes burning scars across dark green skin and teeth that had been sharpened to points. This was Warlord Grix, the most feared Vrak commander in known space. "Look what we have here," the alien said in accented English. "A tiny human shuttle come to save the day." "How amusing that the council sends children to do work that requires warriors." Minho kept his expression neutral, even though he wanted to smile. The Vrak leader was reacting exactly as Earth intelligence had predicted. Arrogant enemies always made the same mistakes, and those mistakes could be used against them. "We request permission to dock with the research station and discuss terms for prisoner release," Minho said using diplomatic language that made him sound weak and hopeful. "Terms," Grix repeated and laughed again. "The only terms are these: surrender your pathetic little ship and join the other prisoners or watch as I demonstrate what happens to those who interfere with VRAC operations." The warlord gestured to someone off-screen, and the Aurora crew watched in horror as an airlock opened on the research station. 3 scientists were pushed into space without protective suits and died instantly in the vacuum. Their bodies floated away slowly while Grix smiled with satisfaction. "That was your warning, human," the alien commander said. "Now you have 1 minute to surrender before I order my entire fleet to turn your shuttle into space." Dust. Minho looked around at his crew and saw determination in every face. They had all volunteered for this mission, knowing it might be their last but ready to fight anyway for people they had never met. Daiho gave a small nod, indicating that all hidden systems were ready for activation. Captain, the AI voice of Dr. Yunhana, spoke privately through their earpieces. "All quantum displacement drives are online. Adaptive armor plating is prepared for deployment. Weapon systems are charged and targeting solutions are locked onto priority. Enemy vessels. Warlord." Grix began counting down from 60 seconds while his fleet moved into attack formation. The massive alien warships powered up their weapons and prepared to destroy what they thought was a helpless human transport. The research station survivors watched from their prison cells, expecting to see their rescuers die in a brief flash of light. Minho waited until the countdown reached 10 seconds before giving his order. Now he said quietly, "The change that came over the Aurora was like watching a butterfly emerge from a cocoon." The simple shuttle exterior began to shift and flow as adaptive armor plating extended from hidden compartments. The basic navigation lights were replaced by energy barriers that glowed with blue fire. Advanced weapon systems emerged from concealed ports, while the ship's true size became visible as cloaking fields deactivated. Kim Daeho fingers danced over his control panel as systems that had taken Earth 20 years to develop came online in seconds. The Aurora quantum displacement drives allowed it to exist in multiple dimensions at once, making it nearly impossible to target with conventional weapons. Yang Bora jamming systems activated, and suddenly half the VRAC fleet found their communications cut off while their targeting computers began showing false readings. Han Taiyang brought weapons to full power and painted dozens of enemy ships with targeting lasers that appeared from nowhere. The countdown reached 0, and Warlord Grix ordered his fleet to fire. Every VRAC ship opened fire at once, filling space with enough destructive energy to vaporize a small moon. The attack should have turned the Aurora into scattered atoms, but instead, something impossible happened. Every shot either bounced harmlessly off energy barriers or passed through empty space where the ship had been a split second before. The Aurora moved like a dancer, avoiding thousands of weapons while positioning itself for counterattack its quantum drives allowed it to be in several places at once, confusing enemy gunners who could not understand what they were seeing. Warlord Grix's face went from confident to confused to angry as he realized that the helpless human shuttle was not what it appeared to be. His communications officer reported that they could not get target locks on the strange vessel, and that their most powerful weapons were having no effect. "What is that thing?" Grix roared at his bridge crew. The Aurora answered by firing its first shot. A single precise beam cut through space and disabled the weapon systems on 3 VRAC destroyers without killing anyone aboard. The message was clear. Humans preferred to capture rather than kill, but they were perfectly capable of both. Minho smiled as he watched enemy ships scramble to reform their attack patterns. They had expected easy prey and found a predator instead. The space around Research Station Omega-7 became a deadly dance as the Aurora moved between VRAC warships like a ghost that could strike without warning. Captain Lee Minho watched his tactical display show enemy vessels trying desperately to track their position, while his ship existed in quantum states that made normal targeting impossible. Engineer Kim Daeho worked at his station with intense focus as he managed power distribution between dimensional drives, weapons systems, and defensive barriers. His screens showed energy flows that would have been impossible to understand just a few years ago, but now felt as natural as breathing. The Aurora was responding to every command like a living creature eager to protect the innocent. We have successfully disabled 12 enemy vessels without casualties. Weapons specialist Han Taiyang reported from his position. All shots were precision strikes to weapon systems and engines. They are alive but cannot fight or escape. Medical. Officer Choi Nara had established contact with survivors inside the research station and was coordinating rescue operations while the battle raged around them. Her medical transporters were pulling wounded scientists directly from their prison. Cells to the Aurora sick bay where automated systems began treating injuries that ranged from simple cuts to severe torture wounds. Communications, expert Yang Bora intercepted enemy transmissions and translated the growing panic in Vrak voices. Their fleet commanders were shouting contradictory orders while trying to understand how a single small ship could outmaneuver and outfight hundreds of their best warships. The confusion was spreading through their entire formation as discipline broke down. Captain, the AI voice of Dr. Yoon Hana spoke through the bridge speakers. I am detecting massive power buildup from the enemy flagship Warlord Grix. Appears to be preparing some kind of superweapon that could destroy the research station. And everyone on board Minho studied his tactical display and saw the huge Vrak command ship glowing with dangerous energy. The Warlord had decided that if he could not capture the quantum drive technology, then he would make sure nobody else could have it either. Even if it meant killing hundreds of innocent scientists, how long until the weapon is ready? Minho asked. Estimated charging time is 4 minutes and 30 seconds, Dr. Yoon Hana replied. The weapon appears to be a plasma lance capable of cutting through station shielding and hull plating in a single shot that gave them very little time to act. The Aurora could probably survive the blast, but the research station and its remaining survivors would be completely destroyed. Minho made a decision that would have seemed insane to most military commanders, but felt perfectly reasonable to a human officer trained in creative problem-solving. Daeho route all available power to the quantum displacement drives, he ordered. We are going to do something that the Vrak will never expect. What do you have in mind? Captain Kim Daeho asked as his hands moved over control systems that were pushing the boundaries of known physics. We are going to fly directly through their flagship and rescue the prisoners they are holding there. At the same time, Minho replied, the Aurora can exist in multiple quantum states, which means we can be both inside and outside their ship simultaneously. The crew looked at their captain with expressions that mixed admiration and concern. What he was suggesting had never been attempted before, even in Earth's most advanced testing facilities. The quantum displacement drives were designed for combat maneuvering, not for actually occupying the same space. As enemy vessels, Han Taiyang smiled as he understood the plan. Sir, if we materialize inside their ship, we can take out their command structure and disable the superweapon while they are still trying to figure out where we went. Exactly, Minho replied. And while we are doing that, Nara can transport any prisoners they have directly to our medical bay. We save lives and eliminate the threat in one operation. Choi Nara was already scanning the Vrak flagship with medical sensors that could detect life signs through heavy armor plating. I am reading 47 alien scientists being held in the lower decks. She reported most are injured but alive. They appear to be the senior researchers who have been resisting interrogation. Yang Bora monitored enemy communications as the Aurora began its impossible approach toward the massive warship. The Vrak bridge crew was reporting multiple sensor contacts, but could not understand why their targeting computers kept losing lock on the human vessel. The Aurora phased through several dimensions at once as Kim Daeho pushed the quantum drives beyond their tested limits. The ship became translucent and ghost-like while maintaining solid form for its crew. The sensation was strange, like flying through a dream where physics worked differently than normal reality. Warlord Grix appeared on their main screen again. But now his confident expression had been replaced by confusion and growing fear. "What kind of technology are you using?" he demanded. "How? Is your primitive shuttle doing impossible things?" Minho smiled and opened communications to the entire Vrak fleet. "We are human," he said simply, "and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. Your superweapon will not fire today, and your prisoners will be returned to their families." The Aurora reached the enemy flagship just as the plasma lance finished charging. The massive weapon began to rotate toward Research Station Omega-7, while alien gunners prepared to execute hundreds of innocent scientists. But the human ship had other plans. In a maneuver that defied several laws of physics, the Aurora materialized inside the Vrak command vessel, while simultaneously remaining outside in normal space. The crew found themselves on the enemy bridge, looking at confused aliens who could not understand how humans had appeared in their most secure location. Han Taiyang weapons activated and disabled every control system on the bridge, without harming any of the Vrak personnel. The super weapon powered down as its targeting computers went offline, while emergency lighting bathed everything in red illumination that made the scene look like something from a nightmare. Choi Nara medical transporters activated and began pulling alien prisoners from their cells directly to the Aurora sickbay. She worked with practiced efficiency to stabilize the most seriously injured, while her automated systems began treating dozens of patients at once. Kim Deho interfaced with the flagship computer systems and downloaded tactical information about the entire Vrak fleet, including weak points in their formation and details about their command structure. The data would be invaluable for Earth Defense Force intelligence analysts' Yang Bora broadcast, a message on all Vrak frequencies that was heard by every ship in the fleet. "This is the Earth Defense Force vessel Aurora," she announced. "Your superweapon has been disabled, your command ship has been captured, and your prisoners have been rescued. Any vessel that continues hostile actions will be dealt with accordingly." The effect on the Vrak fleet was immediate and dramatic. Ship after ship began powering down weapons and requesting permission to withdraw from the battle zone. Warlord Grix sat in his command chair staring at the humans who had appeared from nowhere and outfought his entire armada with a single vessel. "You cannot be human," he said in a voice filled with disbelief. "Humans are primitive newcomers to space. They do not have technology like this." Captain Minho looked at the defeated warlord with something that might have been pity. "We are exactly what we appear to be," he replied. "But appearances can be deceiving. We learned long ago that the best weapon is the one your enemy never sees coming." The Aurora began to withdraw from the flagship while maintaining its impossible existence in multiple dimensions at once. The rescued scientists were receiving medical treatment while the Vrak fleet scattered in all directions like frightened children running from something they could not understand or fight. The battle was over, but the real victory was just beginning. The morning sun cast long shadows across the Earth Defense Force headquarters as Admiral Park Jin-ho walked through the busy corridors. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor, while officers and soldiers moved around him carrying reports and orders. The walls were covered with screens showing star maps and data from across the galaxy, but today felt different than usual. A sharp beep came from his personal communicator, making him stop near the main conference room. The message was marked with the highest priority level and came directly from the Galactic Council Embassy on Luna Station. This could only mean one thing: someone needed Earth help, and they needed it badly. Park Jin-ho entered his private office and activated the secure hologram projector. The room filled with blue light as the image of Ambassador Vel-Tar appeared before him. The alien diplomat looked exactly like the pictures in Earth databases, tall and thin with pale blue skin and large dark eyes that seemed to hold ancient wisdom. "Good morning, Admiral Park," the ambassador said in perfect English, though his voice carried a strange musical quality that all Zephyrians had. "I hope you are well today because I bring urgent news from the Outer Rim." Territories Park Jin-ho sat down in his chair and studied the alien carefully. In his 20 years of military service, he had learned to read people quickly, and right now, Veltar looked worried. The ambassador's hands were shaking slightly, and his usual calm manner seemed forced. "What has happened?" Ambassador the Admiral asked, keeping his voice steady and professional. "3 days ago, we lost contact with Research Station Omega-7 in the Kepler sector," Veltar explained while his image flickered. Slightly due to the long-distance transmission, the station houses over 200 scientists from 12 different species, all working on breakthrough technology that could change space travel forever. Park Jin-ho leaned forward in his chair. This was bigger than he first thought. Research Station Omega-7 was one of the most advanced facilities in known space. If something had happened there, it could affect the entire galaxy. What kind of breakthrough technology, the Admiral asked, though. He suspected he already knew the answer. "Quantum tunneling drives," Veltar replied, confirming Park Jin-ho fears. If successful, this technology would allow ships to travel instantly across vast distances without using hyperspace lanes. It would revolutionize everything from trade to exploration to military operations. The Admiral nodded slowly. He knew that several Earth scientists had been working on similar projects in secret facilities hidden throughout the solar system. But the official story was that humans were still learning basic space travel from their alien allies. "Why did you lose contact?" Park Jin-ho asked, wanting to hear the full situation before making any decisions. "Our long-range sensors detected a massive fleet of Vrak warships surrounding the station," Veltar said, and his voice became even more worried. "The Vrak are known throughout the galaxy as ruthless pirates and killers. They take what they want and destroy everything else. We believe they learned about the quantum drive research and decided to steal it for themselves." Park Jin-ho had heard stories about the Vrak from other alien diplomats. They were described as brutal warriors who lived only for conquest and destruction. If they got their hands on quantum tunneling technology, they could build an unstoppable war fleet and attack any world they wanted. "How many Vrak ships are we talking about?" the Admiral asked. "Our scouts counted over 300 vessels of various sizes," Veltar replied. "Most are heavy, cruisers and battleships designed for long campaigns. The station defenses were never meant to handle that kind of attack force. They probably surrendered quickly to avoid being destroyed. 300 ships was a massive fleet, larger than anything Earth currently had in active service. Even if they sent every available warship, it would be a difficult battle, and many humans would die in the fighting." "What does the Galactic Council want Earth to do?" Park Jin-ho asked, though he was already forming plans in his mind. "We need someone to attempt a rescue mission," Veltar explained, but his tone suggested he did not expect success. "The Council has discussed sending a large military force, but that would take weeks to organize, and by then the scientists will likely be dead or worse. We need a small, fast team that can slip past the Vrak blockade and extract as many survivors as possible." Park Jin-ho understood the real situation. The Galactic Council wanted someone expendable to attempt an impossible mission. When it failed, they could tell themselves they had tried everything while keeping their own forces safe for more important battles. "You want us to send a shuttle with a small team," the Admiral said, making it sound like a question. Even though he knew the answer exactly, Veltar replied, and he looked almost apologetic. "Your people have shown remarkable skill at improvisation and creative problem-solving. A small human shuttle might be able to sneak past the Vrak sensors where larger ships would be detected immediately." The ambassador paused for a moment before continuing. "We know this is extremely dangerous, and we would not ask if there were any other options. The Council is prepared to offer significant compensation and technology transfers in exchange for this mission." Park Jin-ho smiled slightly. The aliens still thought humans were primitive compared to other species. They saw Earth forces as useful for basic support missions, but nothing more. They had no idea what human technology was really capable of when pushed to its limits. "How long do we have to decide?" the Admiral asked. "The Vrak fleet arrived 3 days ago." Veltar replied, "Time is running out for the survivors. Every hour we delay means more scientists may die or be tortured for information about the quantum drives. We need an answer within the next few hours." If possible, Park Jin-ho stood up and walked to the large window that looked out over the training grounds. Below him, he could see young soldiers practicing combat maneuvers and pilots testing new aircraft designs. All of them were ready to risk their lives to protect innocent people, even aliens they had never met. "I will need to discuss this with my senior staff," Admiral Park said, turning back to the hologram. "But I believe Earth will accept this mission." "Thank you, Admiral." Veltar replied, and genuine relief showed on his face. "The Council will be grateful for whatever help you can provide." After the transmission ended, Park Jin-ho activated his secure communication system and sent coded messages to 5 of his most trusted officers. Within minutes, they would be on their way to headquarters for an emergency briefing. None of them knew yet that they were about to be offered the most dangerous mission in human history. The Admiral walked back to his window and looked up at the clear blue sky. Soon one of Earth's ships would be heading into the darkness of space, carrying a crew that aliens expected to fail. But Park Jin-ho knew something. The Galactic Council did not know humans never did anything the easy way, and their greatest victories always came when enemies underestimated what they were capable of achieving. The rescue mission would happen exactly as the aliens requested. Small Shuttle with a tiny crew would head towards certain doom against overwhelming odds. It would look like a desperate attempt by primitive humans to help their betters in the galaxy, but appearances could be deceiving, and sometimes the most dangerous weapon was the one nobody saw coming. The Aurora floated near Research Station Omega-7 while its crew worked to help the rescued scientists recover from their ordeal. Medical Officer Choi Nara moved between treatment rooms where dozens of alien researchers were receiving care. That would have been impossible just a few years ago. Her advanced medical systems could treat injuries across multiple species using techniques that combined human innovation with alien biology. Captain Lee Min-ho stood on the bridge watching the scattered remains of the Vrak fleet retreat toward the outer edges of the star system. Most of the enemy ships were damaged and unable to fight, but they were still alive because the Aurora crew had chosen mercy over destruction. It was a choice that would be remembered throughout the galaxy for generations to come. Engineer Kim Dae-ho was interfacing with the research station main computer systems to download scientific data and help repair damaged equipment. His quantum processing units could understand alien technology as easily as human designs, because Earth engineers had been secretly studying galactic science for much longer than anyone realized. A priority message arrived on the secure command channel, and Min-ho activated. His private communication system Admiral Park Jin-ho face appeared on the small screen in the captain quarters. His expression was serious, but showed satisfaction with how the mission was progressing. "Excellent work." Captain the Admiral said, "The Galactic Council is amazed by your success, but now comes the interesting part. This mission has deeper purposes than simple rescue operations." Min-ho had suspected something like this from the beginning. Earth Defense Force did not build ships like the Aurora just for humanitarian missions. The quantum displacement drives and adaptive combat systems represented decades of secret research that had been hidden from galactic observers. "What are our real orders?" Sir Min-ho asked. "You are about to discover that one of the lead researchers at the station is actually a human operative who has been working undercover for 15 years. Admiral Park replied. "Her name is Dr. Ryu So-young, and she has been feeding us intelligence about alien military capabilities, while appearing to work on theoretical physics." This news surprised Min-ho, even though he thought he understood the full scope of Earth intelligence operations. Having a human scientist working inside the galaxy, most advanced research facility was an incredibly dangerous assignment that could have resulted in execution if discovered. Dr. Ryu has been instrumental in developing the quantum tunneling drive technology, Admiral Park continued, but what the other species do not know is that she incorporated human engineering principles that they cannot understand or replicate. The drives they think they are developing will not work without Earth technical support. Minho smiled as he realized the full scope of what had been accomplished. The rescue mission was actually a field test of human military technology, combined with an operation to protect valuable intelligence assets and secure advanced scientific research that could benefit all of humanity. Communications expert Yang Bora voice came over the bridge intercom. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission from inside the research station. Someone is requesting private communication with you using Earth military codes." Minho returned to the bridge and activated the secure channel. The image that appeared showed a Korean woman in her 40s wearing a research station uniform, but with eyes that held the sharp intelligence of a trained operative. This had to be Dr. Ryu So-young, the undercover agent who had spent 15 years pretending to be just another alien scientist. "Captain Lee, it is good to finally speak with someone from home," Dr. Ryu said in Korean before switching to English for the benefit of his crew. "I have been monitoring your ship capabilities and, I must say, the Aurora exceeds every specification we hoped to achieve. What is the current status of your research?" Minho asked. "The quantum tunneling drive prototypes are complete and functional," she replied, "but they are useless without the human-designed quantum stabilizers that I built into the control systems. The other species think they understand the technology, but they are missing critical elements that only Earth possesses." This was exactly what Earth strategists had hoped for. The galaxy would become dependent on human technology, while thinking they were the ones helping primitive newcomers learn advanced science. It was a deception that could last for decades and give humanity time to establish itself as an equal partner. Rather than a junior member of galactic civilization, Dr. Ryu continued speaking, but her expression became worried. "However, we have a more immediate problem. The Vrak interrogation methods were more effective than I expected, and they may have learned enough about quantum drive principles to build crude but dangerous weapons." "What kind of weapons?" Weapons specialist Han Taiyang asked from his station. "Quantum bombs that could tear holes in space-time itself," Dr. Ryu replied. "If they detonate such a device in this system, it could destroy everything within several light years and create a permanent rift in dimensional space." The bridge went quiet as everyone considered the implications. A quantum bomb would not just kill everyone in the immediate area, but could potentially damage the fabric of reality itself, making entire regions of space uninhabitable for thousands of years. Engineer Kim Dae-ho checked his sensors and found exactly what they all feared to discover. "Captain, I am detecting massive energy buildup from the retreating Vrak flagship. They appear to be charging some kind of exotic weapon system." Yang Bora intercepted enemy communications and her face went pale. "The Vrak are planning to detonate a quantum bomb that will destroy this entire star system," she reported. "Warlord Grix has decided that if he cannot have the technology, then no one can." Medical Officer Choi Nara looked up from her patient care duties. "How long do we have?" she asked, according to the energy readings. "Approximately 12 minutes, Kim Dae-ho replied. "The bomb is designed to create a cascading quantum collapse that will spread outward at faster than light speeds." Dr. Ryu appeared on the main screen again, looking determined. "There is only one way to stop a quantum bomb once it reaches critical mass," she said. "A ship with quantum displacement drives could theoretically contain the explosion by creating a dimensional pocket, but the vessel would have to be at ground zero when the bomb detonates." Minho understood immediately what she was suggesting. The Aurora could save millions of lives by sacrificing itself and its crew to contain an explosion that would otherwise destroy multiple star systems. It was the kind of impossible choice that defined human nature, the willingness to risk everything to protect others, even strangers. Captain, the AI voice of Dr. Yoon Hana, spoke from Earth Defense Headquarters. I have been monitoring the situation and analyzing possible solutions. The Aurora Quantum. Systems are capable of containing the blast, but the probability of crew survival is less than 12%. The bridge crew looked at each other, and Minho saw the same determination in every face that had brought them this far. They had volunteered for a dangerous mission, and now it had become something even more challenging. But none of them hesitated because they all understood what was at stake. Han Tae-yong spoke first. Sir, we knew this might be a one-way trip when we accepted the mission, Kim. Dae-ho nodded in agreement. The Aurora was built for this kind of operation. We can save everyone in this system and probably several others if we act quickly. Choi Nara began transferring her alien patients to the research station medical facilities. They will be safer there, she said quietly. Yang Bora continued monitoring enemy communications while preparing final reports that would be transmitted to Earth Defense Force headquarters. Captain Minho made the decision that would define not just his crew, but humanity's entire relationship with the galaxy. We are going to stop that bomb, he announced. Set course for the VRAC flagship and prepare all systems for quantum containment operations. The Aurora began moving towards certain death, while its crew worked calmly to save the lives of people they would never meet. It was exactly the kind of thing humans did best. The Aurora raced through space toward the VRAC flagship while its quantum displacement drives pushed beyond every safety limit ever established. Engineer Kim Dae-ho hands moved across control panels that glowed with warning lights as systems designed for combat maneuvering were reconfigured for something that had never been attempted before containing the explosion of a quantum bomb. Captain Lee Min-ho stood on the bridge watching their tactical display show the countdown to universal destruction. The VRAC had less than 8 minutes to detonate their weapon, and when they did, the resulting explosion would tear holes in space-time that could destroy entire solar systems. He thought about his family back on Earth and wondered if they would ever know what happened here. Medical Officer Choi Nara had finished transferring the last of the rescued scientists to Research Station Omega-7 and was now preparing the Aurora medical systems for emergency treatment of quantum radiation exposure. Her equipment could handle injuries that did not officially exist, but she knew that what they were about to attempt would push human medical science beyond all known limits. Communications. Expert Yang Bora was maintaining contact with Dr. Yoon Hana. Voice from Earth Defense Headquarters while also broadcasting their final mission reports to every human facility in the galaxy. The data they had gathered about alien technology and VRAC military capabilities would be invaluable for future operations. Assuming anyone survived to use it, Dr. Ryu Soyoung appeared on the main screen from the research station, looking determined but worried. Captain, the quantum bomb will create a dimensional cascade that spreads outward at incredible speed, she explained. The only way to contain it is to surround the explosion with a stable quantum field at the exact moment of detonation. Weapons specialist Han Tae-yang was working with the station defense systems to create a network of quantum anchors that would help stabilize the dimensional pocket they were trying to form. The research facility had equipment that was designed for peaceful scientific experiments, but could be adapted for emergency containment operations. How precise does our timing need to be? Minho asked. Within 0.03 of a second, Dr. Ryu replied, any earlier, and the field will collapse before the explosion reaches critical mass. Any later, and the cascade will already be beyond containment. The margin for error is essentially zero. Kim Dae-ho looked up from his engineering station and smiled grimly. Captain, the Aurora quantum drives are synchronized with the research station computers. We can achieve that level of precision, but only if we position ourselves at exactly the right distance from the VRAC flagship. The AI voice of Dr. Yoon Hana spoke through the bridge speakers with information that made everyone pause. Captain, I am detecting quantum resonance patterns that suggest this explosion could be much larger than originally calculated. The Vrak appear to have built their bomb using stolen research from multiple sources. What does that mean for our containment strategy? Minho asked. The dimensional pocket will need to be at least 3 times larger than we initially planned, Dr. Yoon Hana replied. This will require the Aurora to extend its quantum field beyond maximum safe parameters. The probability of crew survival has dropped to less than 5%. Yang Bora intercepted a transmission from the Vrak flagship and translated the alien words with obvious distaste. Captain Warlord Grix is broadcasting a message to the entire galaxy. He is claiming that the destruction of this system will demonstrate Vrak power and discourage other species from interfering with their operations. The countdown showed 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining while the Aurora continued its approach toward the enemy vessel. The Vrak flagship was huge compared to the human ship, but size would mean nothing. When the quantum bomb exploded, both vessels would be vaporized in the first microsecond unless the containment field held. Minho activated ship-wide communications and spoke to his crew with the calm voice that had made him a respected leader. All knew this mission might require the ultimate sacrifice. He said the galaxy will remember what we do here today, not because we were heroes, but because we were human. The response from his crew was immediate and unanimous. They had all volunteered for this assignment, knowing it could be their last mission. But that was exactly why Earth Defense Force chose them for operations that required people willing to risk everything for others. Han Taiyang reported that all weapon systems were now reconfigured for quantum field generation instead of combat operations. The Aurora would have no defenses during the containment attempt, but would be able to project energy barriers powerful enough to hold a collapsing star Choi Nara activated. Emergency medical protocols that would automatically treat crew members for quantum radiation poisoning while they worked to maintain the containment field. Her systems would keep them conscious and functional even if their bodies were being destroyed. At the cellular level, Kim Deho synchronized the Aurora quantum drives with the research station equipment and began the process of creating a dimensional pocket large enough to contain the explosion. The energy requirements were enormous and would drain their power systems completely within seconds. Dr. Ryu. Voice came through the communication system again. Captain, the Vrak bomb has reached critical mass. They will detonate it in 90 seconds, whether they want to or not. The quantum cascade has begun and cannot be stopped. Yang Bora continued broadcasting their mission status to Earth Defense Headquarters while monitoring communications from across the galaxy. Dozens of species were watching the events unfold, but none of them had technology capable of helping with the containment operation. The Aurora reached the optimal position relative to the Vrak flagship, just as the countdown entered its final minute. Minho looked around the bridge at his crew and felt proud to serve with people who faced certain death with such courage and determination. 30 seconds remaining, Kim Deho announced, "All quantum field generators are online and synchronized. Containment pocket is forming around the target area." The space between the two ships began to shimmer and bend as reality itself was manipulated by human technology that pushed the boundaries of what was physically possible. The Aurora quantum displacement drives created overlapping energy fields that would either contain the explosion or be destroyed. Trying 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 10 seconds. Minho gave the final order. Now the Aurora expanded its quantum field to maximum size, just as the Vrak bomb exploded with the power of a dying star. The explosion should have destroyed everything within light years, but instead found itself trapped inside a dimensional pocket created by 5 humans who refused to let innocent people die. The containment field held for 1 second, then 2, then 3, while the crew fought to maintain systems that were burning out under impossible stress. Their ship existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, while channeling enough energy to power a small planet. But they were human, and humans never gave up. The Aurora emerged from the quantum explosion like a ship sailing out of a storm that had torn apart reality itself. The dimensional pocket they had created held firm for exactly 17 seconds before collapsing safely, allowing the contained energy to dissipate harmlessly into subspace. The crew was alive against all probability, and their impossible victory would change the galaxy forever. Captain Lee Min-ho stood on the bridge looking at status reports that showed their ship was damaged. But intact engineer Kim Dae-ho had managed to maintain just enough power to keep life support systems running while the quantum drives slowly recharged from emergency reserves. The containment operation had pushed every system beyond its breaking point, but human engineering had proven more resilient than anyone expected. Medical Officer Choi Nara was treating crew members for quantum radiation exposure that should have killed them all within minutes. Her advanced medical systems had kept them conscious and functional during the most dangerous operation in recorded history. Now she worked to repair cellular damage that would have been impossible to heal just a few years ago. Communications expert Yang Bora received messages from across the galaxy as news of their success spread through every known species. Governments that had existed for thousands of years were trying to understand how 5 humans in a disguised shuttle had accomplished something that entire fleets could not have achieved. Weapons specialist Han Tae-yang was helping Dr. Ryu So-young coordinate with Research Station Omega-7 to begin repairs and resume scientific operations. The quantum tunneling drive research would continue, but now under very different circumstances. Everyone involved knew that human technology had made their breakthrough possible. The AI voice of Dr. Yoon Hana spoke from Earth Defense Headquarters with obvious relief and pride. Captain, you have just demonstrated capabilities that will reshape galactic politics for generations to come. Every species is asking the same question. How did Earth develop such advanced technology without anyone noticing? Min-ho smiled as he watched rescue ships from a dozen different civilizations arrive to help with cleanup operations. The galaxy had expected humans to fail spectacularly and instead witnessed them perform miracles that redefined what was considered possible. The careful deception that Earth had maintained for decades was now revealed in the most dramatic way imaginable. Admiral Park Jin-ho appeared on the main screen with an expression that mixed satisfaction with concern about what would happen next. Captain, the Galactic Council has requested immediate talks with Earth leadership, he reported. They are offering humanity a permanent seat on the ruling council with full voting rights and access to all classified technologies. Yang Bora intercepted communications between various alien governments and translated the growing debate about human capabilities. Some species were expressing admiration and respect, while others worried about the implications of Earth having such powerful military technology. What are our government instructions, sir? Min-ho asked. Admiral Park paused before answering. Earth has decided to decline the council seat and propose something completely different. We want to create a new kind of alliance based on mutual respect and shared knowledge rather than hierarchical control. This was exactly what Min-ho had hoped to hear. The old galactic order was built on the assumption that some species were naturally superior to others and deserved to rule over lesser civilizations. But humanity had just proven that assumptions about primitive newcomers could be dangerously wrong. Dr. Ryu So-young contacted the Aurora from the research station where she was working with scientists from multiple species to adapt quantum drive technology for peaceful exploration rather than military applications. The breakthrough they had achieved together would allow rapid response to natural disasters and emergencies anywhere in known space. Captain, she said, her voice filled with excitement, we are already receiving requests from over 40 worlds that want to participate in joint research projects using human quantum displacement principles. Combined with alien expertise in other fields, we could solve problems that have existed for centuries. Kim Dae-ho was monitoring power systems that were slowly returning to normal operation after their impossible containment mission. He reported that the Aurora quantum drives had been permanently enhanced by exposure to the bomb explosion and were now capable of even more advanced dimensional manipulations. Choi. Nara finished treating the last crew member for radiation exposure and began analyzing medical data that would advance human understanding of quantum effects on biological systems. Her research would lead to treatments for diseases that had been considered incurable by every known species. Han Tai-yang received reports from Earth Defense Force intelligence analysts who were studying tactical data gathered during the battle. The information about Vrak military capabilities and weaknesses would be shared with Galactic peacekeeping forces to prevent future attacks. The Aurora began its journey back toward Earth while messages poured in from grateful civilizations across the galaxy. Research Station Omega-7 was already back to full operation with increased security and expanded research programs that included human scientists working openly alongside their alien colleagues. Minho thought about how much had changed in just a few days. The galaxy had expected a simple rescue mission carried out by primitive humans in a basic transport shuttle. Instead, they witnessed the emergence of a new galactic power that combined advanced technology with moral courage and willingness to sacrifice for others. Dr. Yoon Hana voice provided updates on the broader implications of their success. The quantum tunneling drives that Dr. Ryu had developed were now being adapted for emergency response vessels that could reach disaster zones anywhere in the galaxy within hours. Human crews were volunteering to operate these ships and serve as protectors rather than conquerors. Yang Bora translated messages from former Vrak prisoners who were being treated at medical facilities throughout the sector. Many of them had been scientists and engineers who were now requesting to work with human researchers on peaceful applications of quantum technology. The terror weapons that Warlord Grix had tried to build would instead become tools for exploration and discovery. The Aurora crew knew that their real victory was not in the battle itself, but in changing how the galaxy viewed humanity. They had proven that Earth's greatest weapon was not advanced technology, but the character of its people and their willingness to risk everything for strangers who needed help. As they traveled home through hyperspace lanes that would soon be replaced by quantum tunneling networks, Minho realized that they had accomplished something more important than just a successful rescue mission. They had established humanity as the galaxy's unexpected guardians ready to deploy whenever innocent people needed protection. The shuttle that aliens expected to fail had become proof that sometimes the most dangerous opponents are those who appear weakest until the moment they choose to reveal their true strength. And in a galaxy full of ancient civilizations that had grown comfortable with their assumptions about lesser species, humanity had just announced that the universe was about to become a much more interesting place. The new galactic order would be built on cooperation rather than domination, and it would be protected by humans who understood that real power comes not from the ability to